So let's get right to it. Again, this is cut price number 5 at the Food City 500, and we're going to go ahead with track trend number 1, and that is talking about the track itself. And Bristol, again, no dirt. Thank goodness for that. We've got a concrete track for both races, so I am just stoked. Now, you got to keep in mind there's only 2 other short tracks, Martinsville and Richmond. But what's also important when you're handicapping the race, keep an eye on Dover, because Dover is also concrete. And Dover's a mile anyway, so it's not like it's a big racetrack. Pretty close to Bristol. So Dover's important because of the concrete similarities. And you've got the other 2 short tracks, Martinsville and Richmond. And then track trend number 2. We only have 2 this week. 6 of the last 9 winners have started in the top 5 with 3 pole sitters. It's a short track, so that is not a big surprise. And look at that. 95% of the all-time winners at Bristol Motor Speedway have started in the top 20. So you do not want... You know what's interesting? Chris Buescher won last year at 20. But, actually, was that last year? Just want to double check because I know it was... What was it? When did he win at 20? No, that was 2 years ago. Oh, and this is also important, okay? Don't forget, because of the fact that there is no more dirt, we're only looking at 3 races, okay? All the 3 September races. So, of course, that means we've only had 3 races at Bristol with the new car. That's it. And do you know who won? A Toyota driver, a Ford driver, and a Chevy driver. So how about that? That makes things, I think, fun, interesting, better, more wide open. And yes, Buescher, it wasn't 2022 when he started 20th. Larson started 5th, and Hamlin started 2nd. Those are the 3 since the new car. Farthest back a winner has started was way back in 38th. Do you know who that was? It was back in 2001. I'll give you a couple of seconds to guess who that was. That was Elliott Sadler. Okay, now as far as the manufacturer, now here's a big surprise, and I think you should take advantage of this, and that is the fact that Toyota's plus 120, Chevy's plus 160, and Ford is plus 280. Now look, I get it. I know that, as usual, Ford seems to be a little bit behind. I get it. First of all, you got Ryan Blaney in that group, okay? But you also have Joey Logano, and I know he's been struggling, but Logano can race at Bristol. We'll get into that later. And I just mentioned Gregson and Briscoe, okay? And then you have the other big 2, Keselowski and Buescher. So you've got a 2022 champ. You have a driver, Keselowski, who I like a lot this week. You've got Blaney. You have Logano. And then you have several long shots that I think could be dangerous this week. McDowell, Gregson, Briscoe, and Cindric. And I'm going to get 3-1 compared to Toyota and Chevy. I think Ford should be more like 2-1. So because of the plus 280, I think this isn't a bad one. If you go that route. I mean, I don't. But if you go that route, you might want to take a look at it. Okay. Let's go driver to driver. And yes, AJ Allmendinger is back. So, should we start at AJ since we do alphabetical order? No. You know why? Because he's pretty bad here. So he only has 2 top 10s and 23 appearances. So we're going to skip AJ. Instead, we're going to go and start with last week's winner, Christopher Bell. Now we have 3 drivers who are at the top. Matter of fact, let me show you the odds quickly so you got an idea of what we're dealing with here. Here are the odds. You got those 3 at the top, Larson, Hamlin, and Bell, and then a big gap. And then you have Byron, Blaney, and the rest. Busch has come down. He was 16-1 yesterday. Not sure why. With his history. Well, it's probably because of the way he's been racing. Look at Logano at 18-1. Just Elliott and Truex are 20-1. Jones was 50-1 yesterday. And by the way, I'm going with yesterday's odds because I was supposed to do the show yesterday, and I'm not going to change everything, just over a few bucks. So there you go. Those are the odds. And, of course, those are the big ones. Okay, so let's now go back to Bell. And Bell is one of the 3 at the top. Look, I'm not gonna. I can see if somebody wanted to go. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to take all three of the top drivers, and here, let's. I'm gonna give for instance, because the more money, the better. So let's say you put $1,000 down on all three. That's 3,000 you're investing. Well, if Kyle Larson wins, that'll be a payoff of $4,500 or 5,000. Okay, and or 4,000 even. Let's just say that. So what does that mean? That means you're what? You are now gaining $1,000. If Bell or Hamlin want to win, you're gaining $2,000. So it's simple as that. If you want to go that route, but it's a dangerous way to do it because you're all in on the top three. One of them better win, because if they don't, that's a high risk wager. Whether it's $100 each or 1,000, you get my point. Fact is, it's a high risk wager, but that's what they're doing here. They're saying, all right, you want to go after these three, you're gonna have to pay for it. And you know my way of doing things, I just can't do that. So I only have one driver this week out of the three. Bell is not it. Why? Winning back to back. I can't imagine he's ever done it. I'm sure he hasn't. It's very difficult to do. But this is a racetrack that he is destined to win at least once, if not more than that, in his career. So you understand why he's 5-1. Look at last year; he was excellent here. In the first race last year, he was on the pole at 187 laps, and then fourth in not last year. Last year in September, and then in 2022 he led 143 laps and finished fourth. Also, Bell has a runner-up and a win in 4 Xfinity Series races. So he's proven he could do it in the Xfinity Series. He's proving he could do it in the Cup Series. And Dover, last year, he was 6th. And he was also 4th in one of the 2 Richmond races. Didn't do much at Martinsville. So all in all, I like Bell. But the thing that is going to make me, I'm going to find that wart. I'm going to find the excuse to not go down with that 5-1 number. It's winning back-to-back races. Okay, we'll get into those other short numbers when they pop up with Hamlin first. Now let's go with Blaney, the points leader. Look at the big difference here. Every other driver, you are getting at least double the money. And that is the direction that we want to take. Of course, why wouldn't we? Well, Ryan Blaney, 11-1. Hasn't shown much lately here, even though he was okay the first year of the new car. But it generally, he gets in trouble at the track. And I think that some of that was inexperience, patience issues, things of that nature. Now he's a champion. He's the points leader. I think this is a good year to take him again. Because, again, 11-1, you're getting double the price. And he proved at the Xfinity Series that he could do it here at this track. He had a nice run earlier in his career. I think there was a stretch of 3 or 4 races where he was really right there. Might have even had the best car for a year or two here. So he's shown that he can, just like Bell, he's going to win here. No doubt in my mind. And who knows, maybe this is a good opportunity for him now. Like I said, the whole patience deal. Maybe there's a good opportunity for him to kind of turn things around after those last 2 starts. Look, I'm not saying that he should be a favorite, because he shouldn't. But you are getting 11-1, and he has had good experience here before, and I think that definitely should mean something. He was also 3rd at Dover last year, and by the way, don't forget the big, massive win he had at Martinsville to catapult him into Phoenix and win the championship. Let's go now to Bowman at 45-1. That does not look very good at all. And because of that, he's at the point right now, Bowman, where he's going to need to start getting some consistency going in the top 5. I know he's never been a very consistent driver, but he better be. I mean, I tell you what, if he doesn't have a really good year this year, I just wonder about his career at Hendrick. I really do. I mean, maybe he's a lifer. I don't know. Maybe he's just a guy that they're just going to go all in on him, and they have no intention of giving up on him. But, he's got work to do. He really does. And this is not the track to get it done. He's had a couple of accomplishments here, as you can see, but overall, matter of fact, Bowman, in all of those races, 13 races, he has never led a lap in the Cup Series at Bristol. Now let's go with one of those long shots, Chase Briscoe, and we kind of mentioned it last week that, because remember, his odds were a little bit too low for my taking. He did end up in the top 10, which was nice, and that's what you needed to see. So now that he has 2 top 10s to start the season, we're now kind of bought in that Chase Briscoe might be ready to have the year we thought he was going to have last year. Because remember, a couple of years ago, it wasn't like he had a great year, but he kind of showed you enough that it looked like, oh, this kid's starting to learn. Watch out in 2023. So we know what happened last year. Now I think this is the year that might be the year for him to kind of put up and shut us up, any of the doubters. Look, he hasn't had a great history here. A couple top 15s, nothing wrong with that. But he's never led a lap here as well. That's not all that great. What I will point out, though, is what you see there in the last 4 Xfinity Series races at this track. That's as good as it gets. He also was overall, if you look at it, at Martinsville, out of the 2 short track races, that was his best one. He had top 5s last year. And you know how bad he was last year. Last year he had top 5s at Martinsville. So I think he's definitely worth a couple of bucks as a long shot. Next up is 22 champ Chris Buescher. Now the odds are a little bit too low for me. Even though he won, I would have preferred Buescher to be a little bit more like 13-1, like a few of these other drivers that we'll get to. But whatever. Fact is, he's won here. And most of that which is kind of his MO, most of it has come lately. Sort of like Chastain. Buescher didn't have all those great results until the last couple of seasons. So that's the reason why you're seeing that again here. Here's my issue, and that is there's a lot of drivers that can win this race on Sunday. Is Chris Buescher going to win 2 out of 3 on concrete? I tend to doubt that. He did lead 169 laps in his win in 2022, but that was pretty much it. He only led 1 other lap in his history at this racetrack. Let's go to Kyle Busch. Now, Kyle, again, as I said, his numbers have dropped from 16-1. Now they're 13 and maybe even 12. And that's because I think some gamblers probably saw the 16 and they were freaked. Oh, wow, I'm taking advantage of that. And I can understand it. Look at the career. The career is just phenomenal. 8 wins out of 34. That's amazing. He's led over almost 2,600 laps in his career at Bristol. But here's the problem. They've struggled the last few weeks, and with the new car, he has not led a lap at Bristol. Okay? Look at those results with the new car. That's not going away. It's important, very important. Because we've gotten past the drafting. So far, no good for Kyle. He needs some positive momentum first before I'm going to go take him. Look, I don't blame those guys for taking him at 16-1, but now he's back down with the rest of the crew at 12 or 13-1. I just can't take Kyle this week. William Byron, 11-1. Now, here's a price that... Now, look, Byron's one of those drivers that even at this point, you still don't know what you're going to get each week. Are you going to get him at 6-1, 8-1? Are you going to get a bargain at 12-1? I'm not sure he's a 14-1 driver anymore. But 11-1's about average. Problem I have is look, even though, as you can see, most of the good results he's had at Bristol has been lately. And that's a positive sign, including 2 top 5s. That's what you're looking for. All right, great, all that. But I think the biggest issue I have with Byron, besides him being at 11-1, he's never led a lap in the Cup Series at Bristol. Okay, now I'm not saying that these drivers, that, like I've said, that have never led a lap, I'm not saying that they can't go and win and lead laps on Sunday. Maybe that's the beginning of them leading laps and all that. But I see, once again, we're talking about percentages, we're talking about trends and all that other stuff. And I just don't think the percentages are good to go with a driver that will be at a track for his 10th time and go from never leading a lap to winning a race. Now, He could also do that by leading 35 laps, and maybe he gets out at the right time with caution, and he's been a top 5 car all day and he catches a break. That can definitely happen. We've seen it happen many times in the Cup Series. But do you want to risk that at 11-1 when you have a few other drivers that you can risk with? I think he's not a bad gamble. Don't. I'm not saying that, especially if you with the way he's played, he's driven at this track with the new car. It's just that there are other options I would prefer to go with. Ross Chastain is not one of them, but you are getting 18-1. So you're getting a much better line from Chastain. The problem is you look at the reason. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, I'd much rather go, even though he's at 11-1 with Byron, than Chastain. I mean, Chastain hasn't done much here. And I wanted to point out those last 3 results, because just to let everybody kind of know that, because you got to do this with Chastain. That's all, but 6th is good, don't get me wrong, but in general, that average finish has been pretty consistent even with the new car. The new car, that average finish is a lot smaller, but it's still not where you want to see it if you want to take Chastain this week. Look, you're getting 18-1, that's okay, but yeah, I just I don't see it. And yes, I'll say it again. Ross Chastain has never led a lap in the Cup Series at Bristol. Okay, Austin Cindric. Now, look, I'm going to give Austin another week. He was on my fantasy team and still is because of a reason. I believe he can still rebound and put together a nice season. He did not qualify well last week, and that screwed him up because he got in a mess back there, and that's why you have to qualify well. You're going to put yourself in harm's way. That's what happened to Cindric last week. Look, he hasn't shown much so far in the Cup Series. I get it, but he has been impressive on this track before in the Xfinity Series, so he can do it here. And now that I believe that he's a better driver, I'm going to take him because he's 150-1. Now, if he was where I think he should be, I actually think he should be like 80-1. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't take him. Maybe I would, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But 150-1, I just think that's completely disrespectful because I do not think he's the driver that we saw last year or pretty much so far in the Cup Series. I think that I still believe that at some point soon, and it has to happen on Sunday, at some point soon, we're going to start seeing some results from him pop up like we've already seen from, say, Gregson and Briscoe. Okay. Austin Dillon, he does not deserve a mention here, other than just to let you know that he has never led a lap at Bristol in the Cup Series, and he's only been in one top 5 in 17 appearances. We are going to pop up Chase Elliott, though, and look, I think it's great that Chase is getting these big odds, especially at tracks where he's had success before. And I know things didn't go well for him in the second half of Sunday's race, but he hung around for the first half. And when you're driving a Chevy and you qualify well at Phoenix, you think good things are going to happen, but for some reason they didn't. Now, am I going to blame Elliott specifically? No, because Kyle Larson did nothing either. I mean, most of that team did nothing, which was a big surprise. So I can't really, it's not like Larson won the race and dominated and William Byron was second and, no. I mean, most of them struggled. So I'm willing to kind of forgive that. Keep in mind, if you take a look at Elliott here over his career, he's been pretty good. Even his last 2 appearances have been strong. Look at the average finish. Now, I know he hasn't won here before, but, I mean, Elliott, even if you go back to the Xfinity Series, in 18 races between the Xfinity and the Cup, he has 12 top 10s. And so he's been very consistent at this racetrack. You're getting a good number. And if you're going to keep giving me good numbers where Elliott has, in his history, shown that he can race quality laps at, and overall I can get positive results at, I'm gonna throw some money on him and try to make some, kind of, I don't know if we would say a long shot, but sleeper cash before that number drops. Gibbs, Ty Gibbs, 13-1. Definitely Gibbs is one of those drivers I'm taking because we talked about a few of them that I'm not in this group, but Gibbs I'm definitely going with. Last year, he had a very strong showing, including the fact that he led 102 laps. It was one of his best races of the year last year as a rookie. In the Xfinity Series, you can see. He also led 89 from the pole in one of those races. By the way, he crashed in that race. And then had an 11th place finish the year before. So I also love the way he's trending. He's got 3 straight top 10s and 2 top 5s on the year. So that's why I took him on my fantasy team. I think he's ready to get that first win and maybe 2 wins this season. And I think he's going to be competitive for sure on Sunday, which is why I'm definitely taking him. And here's Noah Gragson. We're going to pop up Noah Gragson, 65-1. Yes, it's his first Cup race, and no, I don't think he's going to win. But, look, I'm going to invest a couple of bucks, just what the hell, maybe he gets lucky. Because if you take a look there, the guy knows how to race at Bristol. And he's also in a nice groove at this point. That's why I talked about him at the open of the show. He's got a couple of top 10s. He's got 3 top 12s. So this is the Noah Gragson we were hoping we were getting last year, but just doesn't work out sometimes. And like I said at the open, I think now him and Briscoe and Gragson are trying to battle it out to be the man at Stewart-Haas. Okay, let's go to Denny Hamlin. Let's go to one of those other favorites here. And Denny Hamlin will be one of the 3 favorites I'm going to take. So Hamlin, I like the history, obviously. He's been very strong here over his career. He's led over 1,000 laps. Matter of fact, when he won last year, he led 142 laps. And that was the last race in September that they came to Bristol, of course, on concrete. Also, take a look at Hamlin last year on the other tracks I talked about. Dover finished 5th, led 193 laps. That was the most of any driver in that race last year. Martinsville and Richmond, out of the 4 races combined on those other 2 short tracks, 3 of those were top 5s. One of those was a runner-up. So all of those signs point to. And look, Denny Hamlin, he screwed it up last week. I don't know. Maybe he should blame himself. I don't know who he's going to blame. I mean, I guess he could have blamed someone else. But fact is, Denny Hamlin really did not need to be overly aggressive. Knocked him out of the race. Otherwise, I think he wins the race. So now I think at least in a positive way, he's got some aggression, payback, I guess, to himself. Hey, you know what? We're okay now. We had a good result. Now let's go out there and get a win, make up for what happened last week. Now the only issue is he's got to win 2 straight at Bristol, which is not easy to do. I get it. But he has won there 3 times. So to me, it's just about getting my money back. That's all I'm doing with Hamlin. I'm trying to hedge my bet, my $100 I get to risk each week. All right, let's move on over to Eric Jones. Now Eric is down to 40-1 now, but again we had 50-1 yesterday, so that's where we had the odds. Eric has performed better at this track before. He's not in a good groove now there, but his history is solid with the 4 top 5s. Matter of fact, you look at the combination of when he was in Xfinity first, he had those 2 wins there, the 3 poles. He goes to Cup. First 5 or 6 races, he does most of those, all those 4 top 5s. But the last several races, things haven't gone his way. And matter of fact, he hasn't led a lap the last 5 at Bristol. But you are getting 50-1. It is a new year. It is the first short track of the year. So because of that, maybe something will change. And I want to take advantage of that 50-1. Brad Keselowski, as I said before, I'm picking him this week. I know he's in a little winning rut. But sooner or later, he's going to notch the win. And I think this week is as good as a week as any. Another driver in that number range that I talked about. Some of them I was going to pass because of some of them I was going to take. He's one of them I'm going with. He has the 3 career wins here, so he knows how to win. Matter of fact, just take a look at his last 6. That includes 2 top 5s. I know he was 4th last week, but it wasn't like it was a great 4th. But it was, hey, you know what? Top 5, what are you going to do? Buscher also finished 2nd. So that's a good sign for them coming into this race. By the way, out of those last 6, he led 407 combined laps. That's 67.8 laps led per over the last 6. He was 8th at Dover last year and had 2 top 10s at Richmond last year as well. So Keselowski, we are going to take this week as one of our top drivers. Here's the other one. Well, here's the other top 5 car, and that is Kyle Larson. So Kyle Larson, look, the number. I just find the numbers though with Kyle a little humorous. It's like I don't know. I mean, why is he down to 4-1 for a driver that's only won at this racetrack once in his career? That's too low for me. Look at it. His recent run, 8 top 10s out of 9. 5 of those top 5s, 3 of those runner-ups for just a 1 win. And if you take a look at how he's performed the other tracks, win at Martinsville last year, win in Richmond last year. So, okay, but again, we're always looking for warts on the heavy favorites, and here's a couple of warts. Did not have a good run at Dover last year. Only had 1 top 5 out of the 4 short tracks last year. And as I said, he's only won once in 15 races here. And I'm asked to be given up 4-1. He's also just won recently, a few weeks ago. So we completely get it why he's one of the favorites, because he should be. He's led 86.6 laps per race over the last 9. That's 780 laps led over those 9 races recently. And that's really all we care about coming in here. So 4-1 though, I just can't do it. Matter of fact, I would probably go with Bell and Hamlin. If you're going to ask me if I'm taking 2 drivers, who would I take besides Hamlin? And I would take Bell. Not the odds. I just think that I don't know. I it's kind of hard to explain why I would do that. As impressive as these numbers are with Larson. But I don't know. Last week, not sure what happened there. That's probably why it is what it is. What have you done for me lately? And I know it happened fast. He just won the week before. And he could easily come back and win again this week. No question. But I don't know. I just kind of feel Hamlin and Bell would be the way I would go this week over Larson. But that's just completely and utterly nitpicking. Okay? So I have absolutely no problem with anybody out there that wants to take him this week. Now let's go to Joey Logano, because Logano has been struggling. There's no doubt about that. And that's why he's 18-1. Who would have thought Joey Logano 18-1 at Bristol, where he has 2 career wins? But here's the problem. This year, his average finish is 25.7. He does not have a top 10 in his last 6 races at Bristol. Last 2 races at Bristol, he crashed, and he had suspension issues. He did perform well in the short tracks last year, though. All 4 were in the top 10. Actually, all 4 were in the top 7, including a runner-up at Martinsville. But he also did not perform well at Dover. So a little bit too much on the negative side for Logano. And most importantly, is what has been going on this season. Even though he's 18-1, I have to pass. But if he qualifies well, because he's 18-1, maybe you'll get a decent number on him. Even though, you're not going to get 18-1, but, it's possible you'll still get a good price. Look, if it's ridiculous and he goes from like 18-1 to 5-1 because he qualifies like on the top 2 rows or wins the pole, then just forget it. Don't even take him. You've lost your chance. But, if he's a strong qualifier and you can still get somewhere around 8-1, 10-1, and yeah, grab him. But I can't do it before qualifying at 18-1. Michael McDowell, 60-1. One of our long shot plays. And the reason is staring at you right in front of your face. Look at that. In his in 24 appearances, his average finish is 27.9. But in the last 5 races, including, of course, the last 3 with the new car, 13th. and his best finish ever, I believe it's his best finish ever, or it's one of his top tens, 6th last year. So because of that, I think he's a solid long shot play. By the way, Joe Nemechek, I think he's in this category. Nemechek. We're not going to pop him up on the screen. What do I have? Do I have Nemechek around here? Yes. Nemechek, let's see. First Cup race, 3 top 5s out of 4 Xfinity Series races. Let's now move on to, we have a few more drivers to go. Reddick at 13-1. Another driver that we're going to pass on because I don't think he should be 13-1. Who knows? Maybe he's the Christopher Bell of this week. But look, he only has 1 top 5. That's it. 1 top 5 out of 5. And yes, I'm going to say it again. He's never led a lap in the Cup Series at Bristol. His average finish is not all that great. Last 2 races, not all that great. 15th and 25th. Now, he has shown, though, in the Xfinity Series, he can race here. 11th or better in all 5 races with a runner-up and a win. But I need to see something, including let's lead some laps this week first before I go down Reddick, the Reddick train in the Cup Series on Sunday. Ricky Stenhouse, I think, is worth mentioning. I'm not going to pick him, but it's worth mentioning because the stats pretty good. This is one of his best statistical racetracks, even though he's ever won here. So, problem is, even though he was 10th last year, his last 8 overall, including the 10th, the average finish is pretty bad. Daniel Suarez, only want to put him up here because of the fact that he's got a win already on the season. But this is not a good track for him. You know, his average finish, I mean, I think if he could finish in the top 15, I think that would be a success. Martin Truex Jr. Now, here's a 20-1, says it all. Anytime Martin Truex Jr. is 20-1, and usually it's a drafting race, you don't take him because he's not good there. And he's not. I mean, look at that. Two top 5s out of 33. He might have a better statistical record at Daytona or Talladega. The average finish is not that great. He did win in the Xfinity Series way back in 2004, but no reason to take Martin Truex Jr. this week. And Bubba Wallace is next. Bubba 40-1. Just 1 top 10. The average finish is not good. This is not the week to take Bubba Wallace. All right. Now, we're going to wrap it up with the our overall picks. So let's see. Let me see where CJ. I got to remember to put these picks here. So CJ, I got to write these down. So CJ's top picks are going to be Denny Hamlin and Ty Gibbs. He's supposed to give me a top 3. I got to remind him of that. Oh, he's only giving me 1 long shot this week. Maybe that's what he got confused with. His long shot is Jones. So he's got Hamlin and Gibbs and Jones. Those are basically his top 3 this week. He's going with Hamlin and Gibbs, and I would guess that Hamlin would then be his top play overall. Let's see. I didn't even think about my own top play. So let me go ahead and do that right now. So let's see. My top play, I'm going to yeah, you know what? I'm going to agree with CJ. I'm going to go with Denny Hamlin as my top play. My next 2, boy, Gibbs is a good one too. You know, I'm going to go ahead and, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and do Keselowski and Gibbs. So those would be my top 3. So I'm going to agree with CJ with Hamlin and Gibbs. I'm going to throw Keselowski in there. And just missing out would be Blaney. And then my long shot, let's see. Look, Elliott's a long shot. So we have 2 long shots. Elliott will be my first one. And then the big long shot, I will go with... You know what? I'm going to go ahead with Briscoe as my top big long shot at 60-1. All right. If you have any questions for me outside of what I've covered here on the show, you can let me know 2 ways. You can let me know in the comments section. Don't forget, well, you know because you're watching it right now on Prime Sports Network. We're flipping things around here this week. So this is available on Prime Sports Network. That's why I told you before, don't lose your subscription to Prime Sports Network. So we have Prime Sports Network earlier the week. I'm going to do the race day where we edit it out a little bit if necessary, which I think we will. We'll edit it out and cut out some things and then just give you the meat of the show on race day's video. And, you know, besides commenting and asking questions, whatever, on YouTube, check out Discord, okay? Because that is the easiest way to communicate with me anytime you want about anything that's going on. We can have a quick rebuttal back and forth. Much easier to do than on YouTube. But we still want you to comment and ask away on YouTube because, hey, you know, the algorithms help boost up your traffic that way. Nothing happens on Discord. Discord is just an opportunity just for you guys. That's it. That's all we have Discord for, is just for you guys to give you an additional way to communicate with us. And it does nothing for me at all financially, any way, shape, or form. But, you know, we appreciate any way that you want to go about doing that. And yeah, let me know if you have anything that I haven't touched up on here, any questions that you want answers to. Because if I don't have answers to it, I'll ask the other guys, and I'll try to find out what I can find out for you. So that's it. Bristol. Yeah. I should be saying baby. I get it. I'm trying to be a rebel. So we're going to go to Texas Road Course. We start our first road course of the season on Palm Sunday. That's the 24th of March. And then we round out the month on Easter on the 31st of March with Richmond. And that's a night race, by the way, our first night race of the season. So road course coming up next week. Richmond, another short track coming up. So we're going to a 3-week stretch to end March with the short tracks, the road course and the 2 short tracks. And best of luck to everybody out there. Hopefully you're making some money, even when I don't. Because CJ, I think he's hit on 3 out of 4. That's what I try to tell you. Oh, I haven't even shown my picks. I keep forgetting that. I could probably show the picks at the beginning of the video, so I won't forget. But let's see. Let me get the picks for you. Here are the picks. Oh, there they are. All right, those are the official picks. So you see, CJ's always got a little bit of a different way about it, where he doesn't mind going with the heavy favorites. Matter of fact, and he doesn't really go with long shots much. So as you can see there, he only has 1. I have 5, but because I'm always looking for the bigger payday that week, and I stay away from the heavy favorites. CJ will statistically have more winners than me during the year, but some years I will end up with more money than him because I go for it a little bit more than he does. So we have completely different strategies, and I think that's great because it gives you 2 completely different perspectives. And there are the picks.